Are we doing it live? Are we doing it live? Are we live? It looks like we're live. What's up, everybody? It's your old buddy Josh hanging out. Look, I got this right there. Got that angry man face. I'm so pissed off. I'm so angry. As you can see, might have to get Botox, my friends. Might have to get Botox. We got Tom's in the house from PA, Ted from Yarmouth, Maine, Fast Eddie from Fort Worth, Sean from Columbus. That's all the people saying their names. Look at that. Oof. Botox. There's some video I saw on YouTube the other day. I don't know what place it was. All these nurses. We got Christopher is in the house, and like they said, how many times you had Botox, whatever it's called. I don't even know what they call it. And these ladies like 74 times, 28 times, 100 times. I was like, dude, what the hell? Scott is here, apparently from Texas. I couldn't believe it. I was like, these people are nuts, dude. Don's here. Frenchie from Indiana, right on. Denise from Parts Unknown, Que Paso. I couldn't believe it. I was like, it's like an addiction. And somebody's look. I don't care if you get it. It just seems like haircut looks good, right on. Well, my wife did it. It does look good. Saved me some. No, it wasn't. They just basically the person just said, Pablo, just give him some time. He didn't say it was a benign fatty tumor or anything. So we got Wisconsin in the house, Minnesota in the house. Man, I get a lot of people from the Great Northeast or upper North. It would take 10 gallons of both. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Andrew. Detroit Metro, right on, Silverback. But yeah, they said, they looked at Pablo. He said, just let it, just got to let it heal. It's okay. She thought it might be a pulled muscle or something like that. Yeah, right there. You saw that video too. It was crazy, man. My former housemate was getting those injections at 24. Like, what the hell? It would take 10 gallons of Botox for my face. It's a face only your wife can love, I guess. Is that what you're saying, Andrew? I mean, can you imagine being a 25-year-old young lady and saying you need Botox? I mean, what the hell is wrong with people? It's crazy. I don't like the whole fat positivity thing or anything like that, but I also don't like those freaking models that have no, it looks deathly ill. I don't get like those people. What the hell? Hey, we got Kirk from Portland's in the house. I mean, these people, these models come down. They look like they look like horrible. I was like, are these supposed to be pretty? Because they ain't. You know what I'm saying? Again, this fat positivity, whatever the hell it is, with Lizzo or whatever that chick's name is. I don't want to see any of that, but I mean, just come on, man. I was like, you're 24. You're already doing that to yourself? Why? And then they make their lips look bigger. What's pouty lip stuff? I was like, all these chicks need to ask me. I'll tell them what looks good or not. Because this pouty lip stuff, that's freaking stupid looking. It looks stupid. What else they do? The pouty lip stuff, the big butt stuff. Oh my goodness. I'm in love with 30 PSI lips. That big butt stuff. No, I mean, look, I don't know about the black guys. White guys don't like that stuff too. But no one wants to see that big butt hanging out like that. No one. I mean, look, I know there's guys who like butts. I get it. It doesn't do anything for me, but I get there are dudes who like butts, but no one wants to see that big freaking caboose hanging out like that. It's just freaking nasty. The huge eyelashes. It's not Jeff Bezos' girlfriend. Let's check her out. Was she Jeff Bezos' girlfriend? Let's see what old Jeff's girlfriend looks like. Jeff Bezos' girlfriend. Sanchez, is that her name? Lauren Sanchez. Oh, dude, what the hell? Dude, that looks so bad. Oh, let me show. Dude, what? Why would anyone? I mean, that just. Look, what just happened? It's just on there. Okay. There we go. Look at that. That just looks so freaking. Oh. And I'm assuming. Oh, look at that. I'm assuming the name Lauren Sanchez, she's got to be Mexican or at least Spanish, some kind of Spanish, Latina. Latinas don't need to be doing that stuff themselves. They're already good looking as it is. God almighty, what is wrong with people, dude? If that's what a billion's buy you, I'll pass 100%, man. That is freaking nasty. No, dude, I guarantee she was freaking gorgeous before she did all that. I have a lot of attractive housemates living close to San Francisco, Oakland. I would rent rooms out to flight attendants. Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely, man. That's freaking nasty. I don't get it, man. It's weird to me. I mean, just yeah, I know Jeff watches my channel. He's gonna get the Washington Post to do a hit piece on me. Exactly. Anyway, I just sad. I was watching this, and there was all these, I mean, they all look the same too. There's like no personality there. It's weird to me, but I think these people get addicted. I literally think it's what it is. They get, and I don't know. I don't take Botox. I can't say I'll never take Botox. I don't know what the future holds, but man, wrinkles are a sign of you. You got these whatever these things called. It's just a sign of laughter. These things right here, widow's peaks or what the hell are they called? Yeah, dude. I mean, if you're a freaking like you for those Latinas, they don't have to do much to look good. You know what I'm saying? Let's just put it this way. There's, those that's a good looking group of women, Latinas. That's a fact. Jeff Bezos' wife, let's see what she looks like. Yeah, we're gonna what's it called when we look at women? Isn't her name Mackenzie Bezos? Bezos. At least, yeah, I'd take her too. I mean, yeah, she's all right. And she didn't do much for me, but I don't know. I think I'd skip both of them. At least Zuckerberg, I think Zuckerberg, he's been married for a long time, right? Crow's feet. Yeah, crow's feet. That's what it's called. Yeah, crow's feet. Isn't that Zuckerberg? He's been married for like that, some Asian girl. He's been married for a long time to her. So I get respect. I think Mark Zuckerberg is actually doing all right by me. Of all the big three, big four, Elon, Zuckerberg, Bezos, and Gates, Zuckerberg is my favorite of all the big four clowns because I think he's been married to that lady for the long time. So Bezos, he's a clown. Bill Gates is, oh my goodness, what a clown. Who's the other guy? Bill Gates, Bezos, Elon. Elon's just crazy. Yeah, yeah. Zuckerberg's been married with the same woman for a long time. So good on Mark. I think Zuckerberg's probably all right. I bet if you gave him true serum, if you gave all four of those guys true serums, I guarantee Zuckerberg would be the one guy who would seem like a regular person for sure. I've heard the expression that, yeah, I saw Belichick's girlfriend. Oh, what the? My wife, I was like, what are you doing, Belichick? What are you doing? You trying to relate to the youngins? I mean, dude, he's 72. He's got a 24-year-old chick. Oh, but Josh, you don't know what it's like. Man, you're right. I don't know what it's like. My wife is super religious. Forced me to church. Hot Latina living American. My wife is super religious. Forces me to church. Hot Latina living American dream. So you're saying your wife is a hot Latina? Gotcha. She's religious, forces you to church. Yeah, I got you, Ron. Yeah, Bill Belichick. What are you doing, Belichick? It's so freaking. I mean, what's a 24-year-old chick doing with Belichick? I mean, the whole thing's just so stupid. Well, we don't know what it's like. No, I get it. I don't. Maybe when I'm 72, I'll be dating some 24-year-old chick too. I mean, I hope not. I don't know what the future holds. I mean, my goodness. But with that said, oh yeah, dude. All right, who you guys got? You got the Oilers or the Panthers? So I'm putting down the money on the Panthers. I'm telling you, no way the Panthers are going to lose. No way. No way. Yeah, I saw that Jason Whitlock clown Belichick. Good on Whitlock. He's crushing. So who you guys got? The Oilers or the Panthers? You don't have to be a hockey fan. Just got to know it's Game 7. I get older and they stay the same age. Oilers. And I tell you, all right, we'll see, Dean. You got two Panthers guys in here. I think, oh, man. Oilers fast. They said Oilers. I think you're wrong. I think I think it's going to be just like what happened with the Celtics when they came back from down 0-3 to the Heat, and they went back home, and the freaking Celtics got destroyed by the Heat in Game 7. You were there for Game 5? Wow, for real? Oh, cool, man. Hey, cool. What's up, big boy? What's up, big dog? 100% Belichick, and not just Belichick, but freaking what's his name too? The owner there, Robert Kraft. Going down there to a massage parlor. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, come on, Robert Kraft. I ain't kidding. Yeah, that Game 5 was pretty close. I mean, it looks like the Panthers. I thought the Panthers were going to pull it out for sure, but they didn't. And so there's no way the Panthers are going to lose. Remember, the last time this happened, the Bruins lost. They were up 3-0 against the Flyers, and they were up 3-0 in Game 7. So they had a 3-goal lead in Game 7 after being up 3-0 against the Flyers, and they lost the series. And that was the year the Flyers went on to face the the year the Flyers went on to face the Blackhawks. I would like to see the Oilers win. Kraft got caught because of Trump's sting. Really? A rub and jeez, man. You're gonna be there for Game 7? Holy crap, dude! For real? Man, that's fantastic. Are you worried about the declining? Is the U.S. dollar declining? I mean, literally, is it U.S. Literally, answer me this: is the U.S. dollar declining in value? I mean, this is what cracks me up, but people say this. So, Mike, are the declining value of the U.S. dollar and the high depth level, the high debt level of the U.S. and how this will affect people retiring in the West? Is the U.S. dollar declining in value? That's a pet peeve of mine. The dollar is crashing. It is. Really? How? Don't you know that inflation? Okay. When people say the dollar is crashing, what that simply means is if the dollar crashing would be compared to other currencies. And it's not happening. The dollar is strong, it's getting stronger by the day. And how could that possibly be if the dollar was crashing? How could that possibly be? All right. So the dollar isn't crashing. It's just not. It's that whole argument is silly. It crashing against what currency? 100%. Now, what they'll say, and then what they should say, yeah, no, it was more than 50 years ago. I think that was like 1949, Brian, or something like that, 1947 against the Red Wings. Crazy. Yeah, I just don't see how they're going to lose. Not at home. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. Edmonton versus Florida. Who would ever thought that'd be a good series to watch? And I'm freaking excited, man. I'm looking forward to Edmonton. I hope they win. If the Panthers win, I won't be bummed. But I just think this. I just no way that Florida's going to be the team that. But this guy pays $30,000 $30,000 a month in child support. The King dollar, exactly. The dollar is worth less. Less than what? No, it's not worth less. It's just not. Because when people say the dollar is crashing, that implies there's something that's not crashing, i.e., another currency that's going to replace the dollar, like the BRICS, the end of the petrodollar. Oh my goodness, the King dollar any day. That BRIC currency and ending is no threat, 100%, man. It's just not crashing. And as such, people are saying, "Oh, but the petrodollars, we're losing it." But Saudi Arabia, it's just not. It's not. There's no evidence of this. I mean, show me the evidence. It ain't there. It's not there. It's the exact opposite. The dollar is growing in value. You can say, well, the euro. All right. Well, the euro has been about $1.10 for every €1. All right. So that's what they're saying. The U.S. dollar buys less than it used to be. That's what they're saying. All right. And this argument drives me up the wall. All right. So how do we keep up with the purchasing power of our dollar? Because we take a dollar from we took this guy right here, my food stamp from when I was a kid, 1978. This could buy me 4 cans of pop. I remember that for a fact. You get a can of soda for 25 cents. All right. You could buy a can of soda. Now you can't buy a can of soda for 25 cents. So I took this dollar and I left it sitting here in my desk here. This dollar would buy less. No one debates that. This dollar would buy less. Can I ask you, what kind of idiot would take a dollar bill and put it in his freaking desk for 40 years later to go use that? I mean, that's just idiotic. So what do you do instead? Oh, you buy T-bills. Oh, magic that. T-bills have kept up almost dollar for dollar with inflation. Shocking. So this specific dollar doesn't buy nearly as much as it did in 1978. No one is putting their money in a freaking safe box for 50 years. I mean, you can do a little bit of that, but if you're putting your wealth in there, that's just idiotic. So what you do is, if you say, well, I want to keep up with inflation, my dollars, I'm going to buy T-bills. And T-bills keep up with inflation. It's shocking. As such, this $1 T-bill is now worth, which could buy me 4 sodas. Whatever this $1 T-bill is worth now, I don't know what it is, from 1978 till today, can buy me 4 sodas. It's just as simple. Yes, the dollar is going down if you just park it in your freaking wallet for 50 years. Why is that important? Because that is how they get people to spend their money. It's a currency. This isn't rocket science, man. This is why Bitcoin will never be a currency, because we make the dollar decline in value to get people to offload it. They don't want people hoarding dollars. They want people investing dollars or consuming or spending. And as such, we say, I got a dollar now. I can sit on it for 50 years. This dollar will buy a fourth of what it did when I was 8 years old. Or I could liquidate this dollar by using it to buy something. In terms, I could just trade it, essentially a currency, because the dollar is not going up in value. Or I can invest it in nothing as simple as T-bills, and that will keep up with inflation. Yeah, I mean, just this is how it works. That's why the currency. So basically, only the fools who are being penalized would be the fools who just sit on literal cash in a safe box. And again, I got some cash in a safe box. I got no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. But that's not what your entire investment portfolio should be. That'd be stupid. You put in T-bills, you put in money markets. It's just for very simplicity. And so now what you say is you say, okay, so that's what makes the dollar, i.e., the velocity of money, transpire. They say we're going to have a high exchange of currency because we want it to be in the current, it's like a bank, like river banks. We have a current on the river, right? Liquidity, banks, currency, all money focused in terms of water, liquidity, banks, currency. We have all this stuff here. So you're either going to sit on it and you're going to lose, or you're going to invest it, and that will help supposedly grow the economy, or you're going to trade that dollar for goods, which will help grow the economy as well. So the issue is no one is sitting on that cash. So the dollar hasn't collapsed. If you sat on your cash, that's dumb, and I got nothing to say to you. And I'm not talking to anyone specifically. I hear these arguments all the time, like my dollar has collapsed. And then you got to look at the other side of the equation. And I talked about, I don't have my book right here. Oh no, oh, do I? Shoot, it's down. Oh wait, maybe I do. Hold on a second. Maybe I do. Maybe I do not have my book right here. We talk about how much it costs in labor to buy. Hold on just a second. I thought I had a bunch of books in here. Did I print it? Ooh. Retire with Wellington. Shoot. Did I not print a bunch of books? I guess. Ooh, by the way, we're going to talk about. Oh, there's some of my books. I've been looking for some of these books. All right, sweet. I'm looking for this book. Well, I don't know where my book is. I thought I had a bunch. Oop. Well, I do them all. All right. They're like, what are you doing, Dad? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, so in my book, I talk about, in fact, let's see if I can't find this. Human progress. Progress.org. In fact, if I got my phone, oh yeah, I do. So we go over here to humanprogress.org. Ask my wife. Ask my wife. She doesn't know anything what's going on in this office here. Let's see. More oil. I don't know if they're going to be able to find this quickly. Rice farming. People are the ultimate I can't even say that word. Existential resource. I'm not going to find it. Your life numbers, superabundance, the story of population growth, innovation. Explore how much the world has changed since you were born. I'm not going to find it. Anyway, so they show on humanprogress.org. Shoot. Anyway, I'm not going to find off the top of my head. How long it takes your labor to buy a bucket of goods. So we have a basket of goods from 1900, and we have a basket of goods now. How much and I talk about this in my book, Relax and Retire, Debunking the Inflation Myth. How long does it take for you working 1 hour in a typical job in the United States to earn that basket of goods, eggs, bacon, beef, all that stuff? And the facts are, it's not even, it's incredible how much more efficient we are, productivity. So you don't have to work freaking digging ditches for. And I wish I had the graph here. I don't have it. man. I wish I did. Wish I had it someplace. But anyway, so the idea that the dollar is crashing, the dollars are worth crap, your labor buys so much more than what it used to. And that's actually a good segue to what I want to talk about tonight. It's crazy. It's crazy. In fact, I think my man was a professor at the University of Arkansas I follow on Twitter, because I'm on X now. And if you're not following me on X, you're a sucker. But he, by the way, this is where I go crazy on X. He he posted something along these lines. Let me just see if I can't find it, because it's fantastic, actually. If I can't find it, and it came from Human Progress. I hope I still got that. Hang tight, hang tight, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look at that baby. He loves his son. He's like, give me some sun, Dad. Give me some. Look at those perfect teeth. Unlike Pablo, Finney's got perfect set of choppers. Pablo's chopper's like a meth head. But we love you, Pablo. You're a meth head, but we love you. Let's see if I can't find this. Oh, man, did I not keep it? Oh, right there. Yeah, there it is. All right. You're not going to be able to see this right here. Well, maybe you can. Hold on a second. Oops. Oh. Right there. Percent of family income spent on food, U.S. 1901 to 2022. 1901 to 2021. 45% of income was spent on food in 1901. Now it's 9% of income. That's it. 9% is spent on food. In fact, when I talked about my book, Relax and Retire, we talked about this, that the BLS numbers for CPI, food and apparel and housing were the big three back in the early parts of CPI. Food is not in the big three anymore. It's housing, transportation, and I can't remember the other thing off the top of my head. But anyway, so food is apparel and food are like just apparel's not in the top five. Food is still, I think, number 5 or 4, something like that. But food used to be the number one item we spent our money on. Apparel is like number 1 or 2, 2 or 3. I can't remember. It was apparel, housing, and food. Apparel is now way down. I mean, it sucks because all the textile workers in North Carolina, they all lost their jobs. But at the end of the day, this is reality on the ground. So the dollar is losing value. Yeah, and now you can buy a hell of a lot more freaking food, and you can buy a hell of a lot more clothes than you ever could before on that lost value dollar. In fact, I was looking at this. I think I posted something on Twitter, whatever, about or I did a video on. I can't remember. In fact, do I have an article? I think I even do have the article. Yes, I do, right here. Oh yeah, right here. Check this out. But the dollar is so much worse, Josh. It's horrible. Don't you know? Don't you know? Check this out. In 1960, I was born in 1970. Many of you guys are alive from 1960. Only, right here, only 2% of the U.S. households had air conditioning in 1960. 2%. 87.6% had no air conditioning at all, to include a window unit. None in 1960. If you were born in 1960 or earlier, basically you had no air conditioning. Oh, by the way, we had massive heat waves back then as well. The 1930s and 1910s. It was just this whole thing that we're under unprecedented charters of heat. It's just so freaking stupid. 2%. So if you wanted to buy a window unit back then, again, against the dollar was more valuable then. The dollar was so much more valuable than it is today. How much would it cost to buy a window unit back then? It's like on the upwards of, this is probably back in 1930 when they first were developed, $300,000 in today's dollars to buy a window unit. 1960, still probably $50,000. I don't know. But the fact only 13% of the population had, 10%, 10.5% of the population even had window units. Showed you how expensive they were. But the dollar's crashed, Josh. Don't you know? The dollar's crashed. Exactly. That's what this thing was designed to do. Everyone hates the Fed. The Fed is doing it perfectly. It's exactly what you want, man. The economy is based on consumer spending. It's just that there is to it. Consumer spending is 70% of the growth of the economy. If we don't have consumer spending, because people are hoarding, you're not going to have that growth. You're not going to have that income, and you're not going to be able to afford things. It's just how it is to it. So a slow but steady decline in the value of a dollar is how you increase the currency, increase consumption. And what does that do? At least economic growth. Now we're going to talk about economic growth if it matters. So I'm going to share that here in just a second. A couple of articles I just read. But at the end of the day, that's how you do it. That's why Bitcoin is doomed to fail as a currency to replace it, because Bitcoin is not a currency. People hoard Bitcoin because they think it'll be worth more in the future than it is now. That's so inherently they're not selling it. That's just so inherently this can't be a currency. It's just so common sense to me. I can't believe people don't get this. If you want to buy Bitcoin because it has no inflation, basically it's a fixed amount, that's fine. You're buying a scarce item, but you don't use a scarce item as a currency. I literally can't believe people don't get this, man. I'm starting to see less and less people saying Bitcoin will replace the dollar as a currency because it inherently makes no sense. A scarce item will never be a currency in terms of being able to be used on a regular basis by the vast majority. It just can't be because it's a scarce item. It just doesn't make any sense. As such, Bitcoin will never be a currency. Again, Bitcoin, the value is that there's only so many printed, essentially. Again, that's a greater fool theory. It says I will buy. Well, I don't even know what's that, 70,000 now. I mean, that's fine. Again, people want to make Bitcoin investment. I got no qualm with that, none whatsoever. But don't tell me it's going to replace a dollar. That's just so dumb. It's literally might be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Bitcoin's going to replace a dollar. How? Because it's growing in value. That doesn't make any sense. The reason the dollar is a currency is because it's declining in value. But I need to keep up with inflation. You buy T-bills or you spend the money. You consume it. This is the whole point about the Federal Reserve Board. And they're crushing. I'm a big fan of the Fed. Absolutely. Now they're getting 5.25. I think Ted said something like that. 5.25 on money. I'll take that. Yeah, right on. Here's Kenny, born in 1965, didn't have AC until he married and moved out in 1987. The only reason he got AC because he got married. His wife said, "If you want me, you better get some AC in here, Kenny." Yep, right here, 1973. 1970. There's Johnny Adams, Johnny Appleseed. He said he was born in 1963, 75 before he got a window unit. And remember, the window units only cool the room right there. It doesn't cool your whole house. Hey, Cal, who you got, man? Who you got? You got Florida or you got Edmonton? I'm going for Florida. It was Harry. Why not Harry? This is the bash this guy said that. I just get so tired of hearing the dollar's collapsing was just absolutely not true. And they'll say, well, I mean against other currencies. Well, that's what a collapse of the dollar means. That's what it means against other currencies. It's just not true. You could go right now to Canada and buy some cheap real estate because a dollar against Canadian, whatever the hell's called, the loonie, I think is what it's called, is worth so much more. It's worth so much more. It's crazy. I got to root for Edmonton. Let McJesus make history again. I went for once, but what I'm saying, there's a Facebook meme I posted. You know, this one where you got Homer coming out of the bush. You know, so Homer's coming out of the bush with a Bruins shirt on. And then he's going back into the bush and he disappears. And he comes back out with his Edmonton Oilers shirt on. That's pretty funny. Yeah, no central air in PA, one window unit for the bedroom. In fact, they even divide this by air conditioning in the regions, the south, the west, the north, and the east, whatnot, whatever. And even back then, and we're talking the vast majority of people in Texas, New Mexico, California. I guess you don't need it so much in parts of California. But Arizona, there's no air conditioning. And yet they still have people moving there in droves. What? Come here. Come say hi. Come here. Crazy. Anyway, stop with this freaking this fear mongering about the dollar. It's just dumb, man. I mean, just all right. Come on up. Come on. Say hi to everybody. Come on. I need those antibodies. Come here. Come say hi. Come on, baby. Come on. There you go. Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. It's a party. It's a party. Yep. Woo, man. Even Finney's breath stinks. Hi, baby. Just don't let those guys get you. I tell you, man. People say, Josh, you should have more subscribers, all that. The reason I have is I'll never have that many because I'm not pushing doom and gloom. It's easy to push doom and gloom, but stupid. Why would you? First of all, if you're a Christian, you can't be fearful. You just can't be. My goodness. We know how the game ends and we win. It's just a fact because God wins. So there's absolutely who let the dogs out exactly. What I'm saying. So there's no reason to be fearful. There's no reason to be worried. I mean, that doesn't mean you can just stick your head in the ground. But grandmother in Lubbock had an evaporative cooler. That was heaven. Yeah, I bet, man. And I'm from Maine. We didn't have air conditioning. You know, obviously Maine. In fact, they talk about only 2% of the whole state of Maine had air conditioning. That was like in, I can't remember, like in 1960. That's it. But who needs air conditioning in Maine? Um, anyway, so just stop with the doom and gloom. I hate it, man. It's stupid. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, like, did you know? I didn't know this. I just learned this the other day, and I haven't validated it. But of all the exports, the U.S. exports, we're like the fifth largest exporter in the whole world, the fifth largest. I just thought that was amazing. People always say we don't make stuff in the United States. The hell we don't. We do. I mean, look, steel is a big deal. I was talking to a guy, let's just put it this way, a big wig in the oil and gas industry down in Tejas. This guy knows more about the chemistry or physics, whatever it is, of oil and gas and all the various compounds and in his freaking pinky than I know in my whole career of anything. This guy's like, man, because he's talking about Molly. I said, I remember Molly Betamin or something like that. And Arizona, when I used to work for the state mine inspector's office in Arizona, Molly B, I think is what we called it. Molly B was one of the main mining things we get in Arizona. Molly B, I think it was. And you're just anyway. Long story short, you have to have Molly B for like this guy was saying, like good stainless steel, and other things too. And that's just one component. Never mind all the other stuff that goes with the mining. And we have it all here in the United States. We have it all here. Obviously, Sniffy Joe doesn't want us digging the ground to get stuff. In fact, speaking of Maine, Ted, I was reading about a year ago that there's a big lithium mine in Maine that these people own it privately and they want permission to mine for it. And they're like giving them a hard time. You heard that, Ted? There's a big lithium deposit in Maine, and these people privately own it and they want to get they want to get the ability to mine it. And I think Maine is saying, no, we can't do that. Yeah, you definitely need air conditioning. I mean, if you're in the South, you need air conditioning. 100%. I mean, hell, if I ever move back to Maine, I'm getting air conditioning. Back when 80s music was hot, it was 250 yen to the dollar. What's it now? I don't even know what it is now. Harry. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely want air conditioning. We make airplanes here. We make freaking. We're just crushing. I mean, look, there's problems. Don't get me wrong. My goodness, I'm not trying to be like, oh, everything's great. Not like that. What's that one movie? Everything's happy. Everything is awesome. When you work as a team, everything is awesome. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I think just the Chinese Celtic spirit. I think Canada outlawed foreign ownership of real estate in British Columbia. I thought they just did the Chinese, man. That's what I thought. $1.37 versus one Canadian dollar. I think someone else said this. That's backwards. 100%. Yes, you need $1.37 Canadian to buy one American dollar. Cleanest dirty shirt in the world. Top 5 U.S. exports: civilian aircraft parts, gasoline, other liquefied natural gas, other petroleum passenger vehicles. Yeah, 160 yen to the dollar. Damn, really? And it used to be 350 back in the 80s. 250? Really? Seems like in the 80s it'd be less because Japan was crushing back then. Maybe. Exactly. But that's why they moved the Winnipeg Jets. That's why they moved the Quebec Nordiques to the south back in the 90s because the trade exchange was so bad for the Canadians. It's crazy. Anyway, we have the best TikTok and OF creators here in the U.S. Awful. I'm not sure OF means. What does that mean? By the way, I just got on what the hell is it called? Freaking Instagram. I'm just such a kid. I'm on Instagram. A matter of time before I'm on TikTok. I don't even know what I'm doing on. It's just this lady emailed me, and she emailed me like it was a client essentially because talk about her vacation. It's all on Instagram. I said I can't see any of these pictures. I want to see some, so I opened up an Instagram account. OnlyFans. I thought the Japanese, right? I mean, they got the big industry for it. It was the Japanese. I remember. Yeah, dude. Everything was 40. Honeymoon in Canada in the late 80s. Everything was 40% off. Yeah. All right. So check this out. Going along. So here's my free to choose book. I've been looking this for everywhere. And guess who signed this? It's Milton Friedman. Milton Rose. Guess. Oh my goodness. Look at that. To Josh Scanlon. With best wishes, Milton Friedman and Rose Friedman, his lady friend, his wife. Do you guys sign a copy of Free to Choose by Milton Friedman? No, you don't. No, you don't. Why? Because I am too cool. Yeah, you saw right there. I don't. I'm not all that interested in doing. I'm not going to be on TikTok. I I'm not all that interested in doing a lot of stuff on those platforms. But I just, I thought my wife's on there. I said, I'm just going to be on there to see what's going on there. And, I don't know how you post stuff. I like Twitter. It's fun. You get to troll people. I love it, man. It's good times. These freaking idiots out there. Like, I know a lot of you guys like to ride bikes. You know what I'm saying? But, and there's a bad bike incident where this guy hit these. It was horrible. I said, what the hell? And, but the problem was these guys they're in a highway and they're taking up the highway going like 20 miles an hour. And the highway is 45 to 55, like a 2-lane on each side, highway, not an interstate highway, but, like your local highway, highway 1 or something, whatever the hell it is. And I just like, you can't be bicyclists shouldn't be doing that. They're not keeping up with the flow of traffic. That's a danger to everybody, man. Obviously a danger to them, but it's a danger to the motorists as well. And I'm sitting there thinking, you can't, and they're all like, we have a right to be on the road. I said, you have to keep up with the speed of traffic. Obviously, and no one wants these guys hit. But I'm like, dude, and I was just driving today, as a matter of fact. This guy's going, he's in the middle. So we got one lane on each side, it's a curvy road. And this guy's on his bicycle, halfway in the lane, going up this hill, rolling hills here in Georgia, North Georgia. I'm like, dude, you're going to get yourself killed. Get the hell over. Because traffic's coming. So so I'm waiting for this guy to get his ass over, or I could pass him. And people are flying up behind me. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't be doing that. And people are just like, we have a right to be on the highways. I said, man, just get over. What are you doing? You're on a major, not an interstate, but a major local road going 20 and the speed limit is 45. We all know people are flying by there. Now, this guy, what he did, I don't know what the hell he was doing. Was he on his texting? But it was bad, man. I have electric bike on order as we speak. Cool, man. Yeah, and I got no qualm if you want to ride, but I don't have any issue with it. It's just like, come on, let's use some common sense here. If people are flying up on it, get the hell over there. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, I've known a couple guys got hit who ride bikes, and they got hit, and they got hurt pretty bad too. A couple of the guys I used to work with, good guys too, like real bad. And it took one guy took a long, like 4 years. He was a bodybuilder. It took like 4 years for him to get back to his normal. He's competing, as a matter of fact. Yeah, just because you have a right doesn't mean it's safe. Or just because it's kind of like you have a right to say the N-word. I mean, but are you going to say just because you have a right to do that? I mean, why would? I don't know, it's just weird. All right. Anyway, so I want to share this. This is pretty interesting. I'm not saying music maker polarizer. I don't have any issue. What I'm saying, I have an issue, but I'm not stupid. I'm not going to freaking go nuts. I'm just like, just common sense. But the thing that pisses me off is this, like, well, I can't stand drunk drivers and all this stuff. You're not only risking your own life, you're actually risking my life too. And I don't want my life to be risked by a guy on a bike going up a winding hill in the middle of the lane, going 5 miles an hour, and people are flying around it and coming up on me. And I'm not saying they had to slam their brakes on, but you know how it is. Like, dude. Oh yeah, 100%. Absolutely. You hit a bike or you're getting prosecuted. 100%. Absolutely. Yeah, dude, motorcyclists. And there's one thing I saw on Twitter. A motorcyclist. It's actually funny as hell. Talk about positive karma. I guess he went by a car and he scratched it. And as he's going by this car, he scratched it with some of his keys or something like that. And then he didn't see that the traffic in front of him has come to a complete stop. So he ran right into the car in front of him and went head over heels. And he walked away. But I was like, man, that was kind of funny. Oh, dude, that's just freaking disgusting. That's disgusting. All right. So here's something I just learned about this guy right here. James Dusenberry. James Dusenberry. I got to turn my fan on. Give me a second. Oh, man. Actually, I got a book over here called Union Terror, about how the Union terrorized the South during Reconstruction. My man Phil Lay had written it, and I'm very much looking forward to reading it. But I got a million books to read ahead of that, but I just wanted to share it with you. All right, so here's A bike I ordered goes 47 in a 90-mile charge. Right on, man. So I never heard of this guy, James Dusenberry, and not to be confused with Dingleberries. We got the most mature audience here ever. Oh boy! Is anyone surprised that a guy with a Homer avatar would say not to be confused with Dingleberries? Yes, wear a helmet, 100%, man. Absolutely. Yeah, protect your dome, 100%. Anyway, so I never heard this guy, but so it's very interesting to me. So I'm going to share with you before we get into it. And he's an economist back in the 1940s. I'm going to share with you this right here. All right. Imagine that your income increases substantially while everyone else's stay the same. All right. So imagine your income increases substantially while everybody else's stay the same. Would you feel better off? All right. The answer is most people would say yes. Yes, you would. You'd feel better off. If your income increased substantially while everyone else stayed the same, you would feel better off. Right? So, and you'd probably feel happier. Imagine, on the other hand, that your income stays the same while everyone else's increases substantially. How would you feel? Most people would say they feel less well off. All right. So your income increases while everybody else's stays the same. You feel better off, probably happier. Your income stays the same while everybody else's increases. You feel worse off, probably sadder. This is because judgments of personal well-being are made by comparing one's objective status with a subjective living level norm, which is significantly influenced by the average level of living as a society as a whole. I'm telling you, this is going to hang tight because there's a huge part of this right here. Huge part. And I'm telling you, man, this is why economists and financial planners just screwed the whole thing up with a 4% rule and all this idiocy about you can't retire. Judgments of personal well-being are made by comparing one's objective status, i.e., how much you have in income, relatively speaking, with a subjective level living norm. Am I keeping up with the Joneses? Which is significantly influenced by the average level of living as a society as a whole. If living levels increase generally, subjective living level norms rise. The individual whose income is unchanged will feel poorer, even though his or her objective circumstances are the same as before. So if everyone else is now eating ribeye and you're stuck with eating ground beef, even though you've always ate ground beef and you're fine with it, and everybody else was eating ground beef, you're going to feel poorer and you're going to feel sadder. You're going to say, even though nothing has changed for you, you're still eating ground beef. Ground beef was acceptable. But now everyone else is eating ribeye. You're going to be like, man, I'm losing space here. But you haven't lost space. I'm losing ground. You haven't lost ground. You've maintained your ground. You will still feel worse off. You'll still feel worse off. In fact, Karl Marx, of all people, even said this. A house may be large or small. As long as the surrounding houses are equally small, it satisfies all social demands for a dwelling. But if a palace rises beside the little house shrinks into a hut. Put generally, happiness or subjective well-being varies directly with one's own income and inversely with the incomes of others. Raising the incomes of all does not increase the happiness of all because the positive effect of higher income on subjective well-being is offset by the negative effect of higher living level norms brought by the growth in income generally. So basically what he's saying is if we're all right here, we're fine. If we're all right here, we're fine too. But we haven't changed our happiness level if we've grown. If the economy grows, it does not change our happiness level. Isn't that interesting? If I'm eating ground beef and you're eating ground beef, I'm happy, you're happy. If I'm eating ground beef, still now you're even eating ribeye, I'm less happy. And you're happier. Basically because we're comparing. This would almost be like relativity from stupid Einstein's theory, general relativity. It's relative to where you are observing the movement of other people or planets, if you want to use that. It's the same kind of thing. It's relativity. Relative income. Now, what does that have to do with this guy right here? Because in 1949, James Dingleberry published Income, Saving, and the Theory of Consumption Behavior. His objective was to solve a puzzle presented by the macroeconomic data on consumption. To do so, he created the relative income hypothesis. He explicitly challenged the neoclassical assumption of independent consumer preferences and made use of ideas that are now common in behavioral economics: loss aversion, status quo, bias, spotlight effects, herd behavior, interdependent preferences. He also raised policy questions about the effect of redistributive taxes on national savings. The issue arises to why the relative income hypothesis has virtually disappeared from economics, even though it is superior to the permanent income hypothesis that replaced it. Now, the interesting thing about the permanent income hypothesis, that was found by no other than Milton Friedman. When Milton Friedman said in 1957, his theory replaced the relative income hypothesis, Milton Friedman's permanent income hypothesis. Basically, what Milton Friedman said: if people experience diminishing marginal utility of consumption, they will want to smooth their consumption over time. The marginal utility of this consumption will be higher when income is low than when income is high. So people will want to save when income is high so as to be able to consume when income is low. I'll hang tight. As a result, consumption is determined not by current income, but the present discounted value of average annual lifetime income, called permanent income. So what Milton Friedman was saying is, your marginal utility of consumption isn't based on anything else. It's just based on where you think you're going to spend over your lifetime. If your income is high, you're going to save money, so that way that money will be used later on when your income is low. And you'll have less marginal utility because you have more money to spend. If your income is low, you're not going to save any money because you spending money right now, consuming, gives you more value for it, more marginal utility. Very interesting. But the problem is no one looks at your consumption by the present discounted value of an average annual lifetime income, called permanent income. All right, so I got lots of stuff, and I'm not going to bore you guys to death with all this stuff. I mean, I just, tons of highlights. Highlight. I'm not going to bore you this. Hey. And just all kinds of highlights. But the one thing is it's interesting. We know for a fact that people spend to the extent of their income. We know that for a fact. We also know for a fact that people in their 30s and 40s are the most worried about finances than any other people, even though they're starting to get their decent salary, starting to make some money. All right, so we know for a fact that people in the 30s and 40s are the least happy when it comes to consuming their income, their lot in life. And we know for a fact that people spend to the extent of their income. I don't think anyone would dispute this. They spend to the extent of their income. Now, some people don't, I grant you, but most people do. They got $100,000, they're going to spend it. They got $120,000, they're going to spend an extra $120,000. On the other hand, if they got $80,000, they're going to spend $80,000. So we know these people in basically 30 to 40 to mid 50s are the least happy, least content because they're always worried. They're worried. Now, I'd say a lot of that has to do with debt, but still. The very interesting thing is, though, who's the happiest? Who's the happiest? The happiest is retirees, older people. The people who don't have that much income. Why are they the happiest? And they didn't talk about this, but it hit me like a ton of bricks because they're older now. They don't care much about staying up with the Joneses. They just don't care. As you age, you start wearing the same shoes, the same underwear, the same shirts. You just don't care. As I just don't care, man. Literally, I'll wear this shirt. This is my second straight day of wearing the shirt. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably wear it tomorrow too because it still smells fine. It still smells fine. I don't care. I'm 53. As you start getting older, you're like, you might say, oh man, I want to impress my college buddies or something like that. But ultimately, you're like, nah, I'm content. I don't care. And so what happens with like the 4% rule and all these other things assumes that your spending in retirement is based on what you spending while you're still working. Now, I've said this a million times on Sunday. There's no evidence of this, first and foremost. That's why this, the 80% thing, pre-retirement income is stupid. But it's even better than that. Because as people age, they start getting more and more content. They start not caring about keeping up with the Joneses. And as such, they're like, I'm comfortable with ground beef. I don't need ribeye. And as such, my relative income, my happiness isn't derived by my relative income. My happiness is derived by what I have. As long as I got enough to pay the bills, put food on the table, and take my wife out to a nice dinner, I'm content. I don't care what these guys are doing. I just find that incredibly important because financial planning doesn't look at it like that. They say, well, Josh, your spending, we know I can't say we know for a fact, but in your 50s, you're going to spend to the extent of your income. And the reason you're doing that is to keep up with the Joneses a lot of times. Not all the time. There are some outliers, but I'm telling you, you'd be surprised. Think of your own self. Think about it. Say, if a colleague of mine got a promotion, now he's got more money to spend, I bet you're going to feel pretty bad. You're like, it's not going to make you feel good. If a guy from college you found out is freaking living large, you're like, man, it's not going to make you feel good. Even though before you knew this information, you were fine. Why would that change anything? Because relative income, really, it's a relative income theory. And yet that got put aside because of people like Milton Friedman, who says a permanent income. Your income needs are based on a lifetime of consumption. Your consumption smoothing is what it is. And I'm all about consumption smoothing. I talk about Larry Kotlikoff in his book, Spend to the End. He talked about consumption smoothing, but not what we're talking about here. Consumption smoothing, in my opinion, is like, look, dude, when you got 4 kids, your wife doesn't work, you're going to spend a lot of money. All right. On top of that, you're not going to save that much. All right. So you're going to be spending up here. You're going to be saving not much. When you get older, the kids are out of the house, and now you're in your primo earnings years, and your wife may not be working, whatever. Your mortgage is paid off. Now you get all this money, and you don't have that much spending. So we want to smooth out. So we don't want to make ourselves feel bad because we're not saving that much money. Because how are you going to save money when you got 4 kids, your wife doesn't work, you got a mortgage and all this stuff? Relative to when you're 55 years old, the kids are out of the house, you got no mortgage. I mean, give yourself a break. That's what that book about Larry Kotlikoff is such a life changer for me. He said, it's okay. Don't feel like you got to save, 20% of your income when you're trying to freaking have your family, just raise your family. You'll be able to save it later on. I talked to a guy the other day, maybe it's on the locals live stream, I can't remember. And he's like, once my mortgage is paid off, I started saving money like crazy. Maybe it was one, I can't remember. I just, whatever. It's a guy I was talking to. He's like, yeah, once my mortgage is paid off, man, I started saving money like crazy. Anyway, the point being is that we're using these models, extrapolating a data set of your current lot in life, assuming that current lot in life will continue when you age. And we know for a fact older people are happier even though they don't have as much consumption. And the reason is because they've already consumed a lot of stuff. They don't need that much. They're not all that, I got to get a new car. I mean, some of these guys are, granted, but not everybody. Most people are like, they're content. They don't have to keep up the Joneses. They can reduce their spending and still be content. They're like, yeah, I'm lucky to woke up another day. And these articles, and again, this article right here is from 1994. Well, and I got tons I just don't want to share it all with you because it'll bore you. But raising the incomes of all increase the happiness of all. The answer is no. Right here, just real quick. I just want to read a little bit more. A more realistic model would take account of habit formation, in which the utility one attaches to one's current income depends also on the past income. This is huge as well. Many of those with higher incomes come from higher income backgrounds. And conversely, for those with lower incomes, they come from lower income backgrounds. The difference in living level experience implied by the differences in income history might be expected to give rise to similar differences in living level norms. Higher norms for the affluent and lower norms for the poor. So if you're poor, you're grown up poor, you're probably content if you're just above poor now. You're like, I'm not poor. That's me. You grew up poor. I'm content not being poor. I say all the time, I've been poor, I've not been poor. I'd rather not be poor. But I don't need to be rich. You see what I'm saying? But if you grew up rich, it might be tough for you to live poor. You might be like, I don't know if I like this so much. You see? Because you're like, you've never had access to it. You've never been there. And as such, people who grew up, the more people grew up poor, they grew up rich. People grew up poor. Now they're above being poor. They're like, yeah, I'm pretty good. Now, they're not going to be like that in their 30s, 40s, and 50s because they're still competing with the Joneses. But as they get older and more content, and they've seen life, they've seen everything, they say, I just don't need a new car every year. They just don't. They're like, I'm good. Especially because I'm not poor anymore. The evidence that income growth, and this is huge about economic growth, by the way, because I think economists get this wrong. Like the GDP is all, it's funny. I was thinking it's AOC. Oh my goodness, if I become a liberal, no, no, no. I'm a Christian nationalist, 100%. If you ascribe that however you want, I don't care. I believe a return to Christianity, like what Louisiana is doing, putting the Ten Commandments in every schoolroom. All these people, all the Skittles Mafia is freaking out. How dare they put the Ten Commandments in the classrooms? That's a violation of the First Amendment. No, it's not. It's fun. I troll all these people on Twitter. I'm like, oh, but you're okay with the LGBT flag. Well, the LGBT flag wasn't forced on us. It kind of was. It kind of was. The school is a government for children. Let's just put it this way. The school is a government for children who are basically forced to go there. So if you put your LGBT flag in a school, you're forcing your opinion on those kids, and they have no right to protest. They got no right to say, "I don't want this." But the government isn't doing it. The school is the government. The school says you have to be there. The school is the truancy and all that stuff. That the school is the government. So if you're putting your LGBT flag, and no one voted for that, by the way, at least with the Ten Commandments saying the governor signed a bill to mandate that. All right. No one voted for LGBT flags all over schools. No one voted for that. If you voted for it, hey, more power to you. At least you did it democratically. But all these idiots out there and the libertarians, like, how dare they? And I say, like the Chase Oliver guy is running for a Libertarian Party president, and he didn't respond to me, but all his fanboys are like, but you're okay with the LGBT flag? They're like, yeah, because the schools chooses that school. I said the school's a government for children. They have no say in this matter. This is how they're ruled and regulated. You know that, I know that. LGBT is a political thing, 100%. It's a religion for the LGBT people. We know this for a fact. And as such, you're forcing your viewpoint on kids. But it's not a real religion. Okay, so now we're getting very. We have to qualify this now. It's not a religion like our Christianity. It is a religion. 100%. It's a political viewpoint. It's all there is to it. It's not about pride. It's a political viewpoint. You know that. I know that. It's just fun. These people are like, but it's not being forced. Then one stupid idiot would say, well, the teachers don't have to do it. It's the teachers who can put up. That's what she said. She goes, well, the teachers, I don't have any problem. The teachers put up the individual stuff, but I want it dictated from the governor. I said, so you'd be okay if an individual teacher put up the Ten Commandments. You would say that's acceptable. Give me a flipping break. You think any school district, never mind Boston, even in a moderately red county, not mine, but Forsyth County, if a teacher just said, I'm going to put up a Ten Commandments statue in my thing, you think that would fly? This is how bad the libertarian argument are. They're just so dumb, dude. It's embarrassing dumb how bad the libertarians have become. This guy was like, again, I'm not using this for all libertarians, but the libertarians love the LGBT flag. They love it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, how do you square that circle, dude? At least I admit 100%. Yeah, I want to encourage more Christianity. I'm a Christian nationalist. I want more Christianity to come back. And maybe one of the reasons why the schools are so corrupt right now is because we lost our Christianity. That's just a fact. So maybe we bring it back for some of these schools that are underperforming. Ten Commandments, put it right there front and center. They say, hey, you don't have to be a believer, but we're going to show you what our country is founded on. It's a historical document. If that's what it takes, I love it, man. Way to go, Louisiana. Now, they aren't libertarians. They're stupid. They're dumb. This whole thing's just so dumb. And this Chase Oliver guy, like, it's okay to be, Skittles Mafia is, we can fly the flag because we're just showing what we had to go through. I said, well, what did Christians have to go through? My goodness, man. Want to fly the flag what Skittles Mafia went through? What did the Christians have to go through? Huh? Anyway, freaking crush on Louisiana. You got my vote. I'll never move in your state. I'll hopefully never drive through again. I can't understand those people down there, what they talk. They're black or white, and they speak Cajun. I'm like, I have no idea what you just said. I thought it's because the guy was black. I go talk to this other guy. It was a white guy. No idea what that guy just said. I said, okay, I just don't understand these people. The irony, I had my roommate was a black from when I first got in my unit in the Army. He's a black guy, Jones, from Louisiana. And I had a hard time understanding what he said too, as a matter of fact. And I just thought it was black guys from Louisiana that, they didn't enunciate their words correctly or something like that. Nope, it's all Louisianans. I can't understand them. They don't make any sense. Everybody knows this. They speak a different language. I love them to death. I just love them to death from Georgia. I love my Louisiana clients. They're freaking the best people you ever meet. Black or white, doesn't matter. But from living there, hell no. No. Baton Rouge, no. Anyway, look at Dean. Dean says he's going to finish the mortgage at the end of the year. I bought a house late in life. Yeah, right on, dude. Yeah, the libertarians. It's just so stupid. Nick Gillespie on there is like, he's like really pissed off about the 10 Commandments. I said, why? You guys are so mad about the 10 Commandments, but not a damn thing about the LGBT stuff. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. So let's just fly the Christian flag. Oh, we just, straight pride flag. Oh, the straights didn't have to go there. Okay. So it's about what you had to go through. Is that what you're saying? Because right now you're not going through anything. I'll tell you that right now. Whether some guys are held, what I'm saying, and I did a video on this not too long ago. On the 50s, gays were actually literally ran out of governments and stuff. It was horrible. What I'm saying, and that many were falsely accused. Horrible. You can't be doing that crap. But at the end of the day, the current batch of gays, that none of that happened. Let's just put it this way. If you want to make sure you get into a specific university that won't be named, if you know what I'm saying, if you want to make sure you get into a specific university and you're like me, you know what I'm saying, all you got to do is say you belong to this certain group of people and you'll have a higher chance than I will. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so right here. All right. So there's evidence that income growth in a society does not increase happiness. These guys looked at 9 European countries, Japan, and the U.S. The most comprehensive studies of historical experience are those of this guy from 1979, 1981. In a detailed analysis of data from 45 happiness surveys between 1946 and 1977, there was a swing in American happiness with a peak in the late 1950s, but little indication of the trend because they were just coming out of the war, the rationing, all that stuff. So they got happier when they relieved the rationing, they got rid of the war, but that didn't lead to a trend. It just happened. They had a little bit of growth in happiness, but after that, even though the incomes were going at freaking crushing, they didn't increase their happiness level. The absence of a trend in happiness is noted by this other guy. He points out that movements in happiness sometimes occur in direct opposition to what one would have expected based on economic trends. There was no change in the distribution of satisfaction with the standard of living among Detroit area wives from 1955 to 1971, although constant dollar income increased by 40%. So Detroit area wives, their income increased by 40%, net of inflation, by the way, from 1955 to 1971, and there was no increase in happiness. Isn't that interesting? These studies cover the post-World War II period through the 1970s. What have they experienced since then? The answer is, again, no trend in happiness. The evidence is from right here. In the period from 1972 through 1991, real per capita income rose by a third. Rose by a third. All right? From 1972 through 1991. But there has been no improvement in happiness in the U.S. for almost a half a century, even though the income rose by a third and GDP more than doubled during that time. Trends in life satisfaction in 9 European countries are the same. Satisfaction drifts upwards in some countries and downwards in others. The overall pattern, however, is clearly one of little or no trend in a period of happiness when GDP rose from 25 to 50%. And then he even talks about Japan, because Japan was a third world country in 1958. By the time 1991 rolled around, Japan was a freaking, had more real estate value than we did, and yet their happiness did not increase. Between 1958 and 1987, real per capita income in Japan multiplied a staggering 5-fold, propelling Japan to a living level equal to about 2/3 of that in the United States. Consumer durables, as electric washing machines, electric refrigerators, television sets, found in few homes at the start of the period, 1958, became universal. Car ownership soared from 1 to about 60% of the households. Despite this unprecedented 3-decade advance in level of living, there's no improvement in subjective well-being. No improvement. When Americans are asked to think about the good life, the life you'd like to have, the proportion identifying goods such as really nice clothes and vacation homes as essential of the goods of life considerable. Check, this is crazy, man. Let me read this to you again. The proportion identifying goods such as a vacation home as essential of the good life is considerably higher in 1988 than in 1975. Why? Because incomes rose so much. So very few people needed a good life to have a vacation home and really nice clothes in 1975. Because the huge increase in incomes, now to have a good life, you need a real nice clothes and a vacation home. Relative income. Happiness is based on relative income. A guy in 1975 did not need a vacation home to live the good life. A guy in 1985 needed a vacation home to live the good life because the income's increased. And yet there's still the same happiness. So all this focus on GDP, we got to increase GDP, GDP, GDP. What exactly does that do except cut down a bunch more trees? What does that do? It doesn't increase our happiness. It increases our consumption standards. But because of relative income, i.e., we are keeping up with the Joneses, it does not increase happiness. Isn't that interesting? Very interesting. National groups display a response propensity. Oh, this is interesting as hell. Check this out. National groups display a response propensity, evidently as an aspect of their cultural orientation, to see most things in either a positive or negative light. Evidence from international comparisons suggests that cultural influences may also operate in a way observed in the United States. An analysis of survey responses for blacks and whites in the US indicates that blacks have a tendency to choose more extreme response categories, i.e., blacks are either happier or they're less happy than whites. So blacks have way more tendency to choose the extreme high happiness or low happiness, where whites are way in the middle. Isn't that interesting? I find that very interesting. This is not a matter of blacks being consistently more positive or more negative, but simply they're preferring a more extreme response. Alternatively, of whites preferring a less extreme one. Reggie White, I think there's a 30 for 30 on Reggie White. Reggie White talks about this. It's actually, I think he got like banned from Green Bay or Philadelphia or something like that from mentioning the difference in attitudes amongst cultures, like blacks from Africa, blacks in the United States are just more. I don't say volatile. It's not the word I'm looking for. It's interesting. And whites are just, and it's based on the phenomenon of I'm not going to say genes. I don't think it's genetic. I think of how you're raised. If northern tribes, which have to be white, they're definitely more geared towards saving because it's so cold. You got to be a prepper. You know, I'm from Maine. You had to be a prepper, man. Yet if you're in Africa and everything just freaking bananas just growing off trees, like you don't have to save. You can be more joyful, more joyous. You can dance more because the weather's so nice. You got food just falling off trees. Where the people in the Nordic climes, they can't be like that. They got to put their head down and say, look, winter is coming. Reggie White talked about it. I haven't watched that episode, but I'm very much looking forward to it. I think he could get a lot of heat for it. But it inherently makes sense. In fact, they talk about Brazilians too here. Brazil is the highest of happiness. Brazil is the highest in terms of responsive happiness, but they're also the most negative that they worry a lot. So they're the happiest of all the countries they surveyed, but they also have the most worry about not able to make expenses. Isn't that interesting? I just find if you're in a cultural place that's abundant in weather, abundant in food, you'll be less like whites essentially. You're gonna be I'm here to party. Let's go. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna smile. I'm gonna laugh. And if you're from like Nordic place, you're like, I don't have time for that. I got to make sure we're prepared. I think it's very interesting actually. Brazil's not happy. Says, well, you got that idiot down there now again. The friggin' stupid. Not Dina Rousseff, Lula. Brazil's a big plastic surgery spot. Man, that's crazy. Poor people have to lie to themselves they're happy. I don't think so at all. I don't think that's true at all, man. So we have to say William have to define poor, right? Because what is poor? Poor. Everybody be happy in life. Yeah, easier said than done, though, right? Because everyone's like, Reggie said Mexicans can put 30 in a house and love it. Also, blacks are spiritual. Yeah, what I'm saying. I didn't watch the thing. It just looks fantastic. It works fantastic. It looks great because that's 100% true. I mean, everybody knows this. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows it. Blacks more spiritual. They're more musical because they dance more. Um, Whites are just more preppers. There's no other way around. I don't know what Asians would be. I don't know. But that inherently makes sense. Cultural. The Good Life was sold on the golden market after World War II to help all those foreign people lost their ass in the American war machine. Uh, yeah, I think so. I think why homes got bigger is people said we got to keep up, we got to compete, we got to show people that we've moved above them. 100%. Homes got bigger, families got smaller. How else can you justify that? I mean, we can say, well, 30-year mortgages, low interest rates, allow people to buy more. But why would you do that? You're doing it to show people. I mean, it's just fact. It's okay to admit it. Like, oh, like if I like, I'm reconnected with a bunch of my friends on from high school, and we're all. I mean, it's amazing. Everyone looks great. No one's fat. I mean, I'm stunned. All the guys on there are just my old friends. You know, some my old drinking buddies from high school. They all look good. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. You know, there's probably 7 of us, and they're just kicking ass and taking names. You know, they just all look good. None of them are dead from OD. You know, I just it's amazing to me. And but you're still like wondering, you still don't want to be like, man, I don't want to be the guy who looks like I didn't make it. You see what I'm saying? You're still like, I don't want to look like I'm the poor guy. And frankly, you know, this is gonna sound bad, but it's like I was proud to be able to have, you know, show a picture of my house because I got a nice house. You know what I'm saying? Made me happy to show that. Why does it matter? I don't know. Human emotions. I just want to say, hey, I didn't fail out. And none of my other friends did either. They're all doing great. But you just want to say, no, I'm there too. You don't want to be the guy who didn't do that, if that makes sense. And it's weird, but it's just human nature. But the fact that economists don't understand that, how do you not know that? Of course you got to know. You got to know that, you know, we are a very interdependent species, human beings. And if this guy's over here is crushing and I'm not crushing, that makes me feel bad. That's just a fact. And if we're both sitting here together and all of a sudden you get a raise and I don't, I feel bad because you are ahead of me. Why? I felt fine here. I just financial planning really is a lula, yeah, right on. Uh, yeah, so then no one in America should be unhappy because we can afford all that. Asian women the hardest? I don't know, man. I don't know. Tough to go wrong with Latinas, in my opinion. Tough to go wrong with brown or Italian. I've never been to Italy, but some of those, you know, I wonder what Portuguese women look like. Spanish woman. I don't know. The Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, that whatever that place is, the Portugal, Spanish, whatever the Iberian Peninsula. I bet they got some smoking hot ladies there. I don't know. Yeah, Ted. And dude, that's exactly Ted. Giving money is a pleasurable thing to do. 100%. William would say, "You're feeding us a load of bull." So obviously, William doesn't know the pleasure of giving money, which is sad. I completely agree. Giving money makes you feel good. It does. It just makes you feel good. You know why it makes you feel good? Because you're making someone else feel good. It's fantastic, and it doesn't have to be much. It just makes. I remember this guy I was talking to I was waiting on I was like a year or something like that. I just, you know, some a young black kid who was starting out. I think he was going to the military or something. I can't remember what it was. And he was buying a pizza or something like that. And I just let me pay for it. It was really, I said, yeah, dude, it's no big deal. And that made me feel good, man. And I just, you know, so it made me feel. I think he was going to the army or something like that. I said, let me get that for you. And just felt freaking great to be able to help a guy who's, you know, young guy just making his way through life. And I just, man, it feels great. And I still remember that, and I'm still proud of myself for doing it. And you know, I'm sure that guy doesn't remember me, and that's fine. But for me, it's like, man, it felt great to be able to have the capability to do it. Well, who with a paid house is planning to move at retirement? Seems illogical in my mid. Yeah, I'm gonna move because I don't need this big old house, man. Keller, QX. I was like, we got a big old house that we raised 4 kids in, and don't need it when we retire. So we can see right here that William is a curmudgeon. Let's just put it this way. Everything William says on here is just being so William is he's definitely not a happy camper. If that's okay. Some people get joy out of being curmudgeons. That's okay. But just have to crack myself up. Small feet and oh God, you guys are. Economists and weathermen can be wrong 100% of the time, still 100%. And not just economist, uh, and let's put this a climate scientist, and theoretical physicist. Fine cigar. Hey, look at you're late, dog. You're late. Ugh, mustaches as they age. Oh, that's nasty. I don't need that. Lebanese women, really? That's interesting. Yeah, okay, I can see that. I can see that. Hmm, interesting. Yeah, European. Yeah, 100%, dude. Europeans, they have so much self hatred. It's insane. Have you guys ever read Camp of the Saints? Generous soul will be generous soul being very rich, and Hugh Waters will be water himself. 100%. Beautiful wife, success. Oh, why are you on here having a curmudgeon? Saying all these people are like, why are you saying, rah, 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 rah? Dude, you sound like curmudgeon. You've got beautiful wife, successful kids, and have a great career. Don't be all curmudgeon-y. Yeah, man, we got enough of that. We don't need that here. I mean, you do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. I'm just like, you sound like a curmudgeon. And if you got a beautiful wife, successful kids, and have a great career, there's no reason for you to be curmudgeon. But the idea that poor people can't be happy, it just, come on. So William is putting his value on somebody else who doesn't say, I'm taking that value. William's saying, you must be not happy because you're poor in my eyes. That guy says, why are you saying I'm poor? Why are you saying I'm poor? Well, because I said you can't do this, that, and the other. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you don't have any determination what other people are doing at all. Yeah, dude, no way. My understanding, Ukrainian women are friggin' not. You don't want to be messing with that. That's my understanding. I don't know any Ukrainian women. Never met one. Never will meet one. But I've heard some guys talk about that. They're out for blood. Literally out for blood. Oh boy, here we go with Cantillon effect. Oh boy, so you've been watching my man Simon over at the Uneducated Economist. And I like Simon. I just the Cantillon effect is. I unequivocally agree with it. Just it's just a lot of Cantillon effect. I have not read Sir Alec Fraser Taylor because I like the ladies. I like the ladies. I've been to Spain 8 times. Not many hot ladies, except maybe in the south, as they have dark. Oh, Moorish. Yeah, that Moorish blood. I can see that, man. 100%, man. I can see that. Yeah, giving money also makes you feel good because you've reached a place that you can. 100%. But not even necessarily. I mean, even when you can't, it makes you nervous. But if you have a faith that God provides, remember what happened to Jesus? You know, when the lady put the oil on him, and all the other guys like, "How dare you? How dare you?" And and then other people in the Bible gave not because they could, but because they wanted to. And I think it's actually an important lesson. You don't just give because you can; you give because you want to. Look, I'm a hypocrite on that. I mean, I am, but. Look at my man William. He is not happy tonight. I don't buy that crap from both you and Ted. I don't feel an ounce of happiness in giving to the poor. That's fine. I do. I love it, man. I love giving money. All women, here's Carl. All women who think being a man is a privileged life needs a self-made man. She tried being a man for 2 years and checked herself and said, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right. Can we see some graphs of how the U.S. dollar? Hey, I don't feel like looking them up right now, but the U.S. dollar is crushing. What's so great about Ecclesiastes? Well, just what Solomon talked about that I have on my website is what's so great about it. I'm not a fan of Solomon. Let me tell you right now, it seems like it's just a whiny rich boy. And we know how Solomon became one. We know how he got to being, old David there. You know what I'm saying? David fathered Solomon with Bathsheba, right? Bathsheba was taking a bath, and old David saw Uriah's wife looking hot, and he said, "I want you." And he got her pregs, and then he sent Uriah off to his death. Pretty much scumbag stuff there for sure. And then Solomon came down, and Solomon had all the money of the world, and he was up to a lot of no good for sure. A lot of whiny Solomon stuff. But Ecclesiastes, let me just show you on the first page of my front page of my website. And I just think what it shows you is that no matter your lot in life, you're not perfect. David certainly wasn't perfect. Solomon certainly wasn't perfect. And you're not either. And I'm not either. And that's okay. But anyway, so here's Ecclesiastes right here. I know that there's nothing better for men than to rejoice and do good while they live. That's kind of what I like to live my life on. Trying to rejoice and do good while you live. Just be happy. Be a happy camper. Spread the joy with your fellow man for sure. Who cares? I wouldn't. I don't give money to panhandlers. Several studies. Yeah, a lot of panhandlers are freaking making tons of money tax free. By the way, I don't give money to panhandlers either. But I'd be happy. There's another. I know. What happened to Denise? What happened to Jill? Where's Jill? Yeah, my man. Yeah, I have. That's my man, Skip Ritchie, setting up many networks in Rhodesia, Zimbabwe. Just talked to a guy the other day that is doing quite well for himself, but he's going to go on a mission to Tanzania, helping them. And this guy, he knows farming. He runs a farm. He knows. He's a knowledge of that, and he's gonna. He knows how to farm. That's what he does. But he's an oil and gas guy too. But he knows how to farm. So he's going to Tanzania to help those guys learn farming techniques. And I thought that's pretty cool. So yeah, these guys are kicking ass. Yeah. So there's Jeff. How much discretionary income will provide happiness for you in retirement? And I bet no one even thought about that. He'll say he's going to give it to his kids and his wife. Look at William, man. The fact that people think you can be happy with a high stressful life is delusional. Yeah, I know there's a sauce. Hey, there's Judy. Penelope, there's Judy. We all said Frenchie Mama. It is a sausage party, 100%, man. It is a sausage party. That's embarrassing. No ladies. And Pablo's a king of the sausage party. Usually we have more ladies on here. At least usually have what's her name from California? The German lady, I forgot her name, Happy Cat or something like that. Oh, thank God. I think Pablo's face, whatever said, man. Yeah, look at that. Oh man, look at that. There's Pablo, still Pablo. All right. There's Judy B. Judy B. Yeah, sorry, ladies. But yeah, ladies, you're like, this is like a Georgia Tech university. You got your pick of the fellas for sure. All right, guys. Saturday night is the loneliest night of the week. We love the ladies there. Oh boy. Now Judy and Penelope could be hitting on, like, everyone's like, "Hey, Judy, Penelope. Hey, Judy, Penelope." Angie, that's her name. Angie the cat or something like that. I forgot her. And then Denise and Jill. We usually have some ladies there. Pablo understands I'm not the only one smoking crack here. And it's true. It's true, because Pablo is definitely, look at that. Hi, Pablo. Yeah. Look, the reason William's so miserable is because I think he's an attorney. Aren't you an attorney, William? Look, I'm goofing you, dude. I'm not saying you're miserable. It's all good. All right. Pablo's just hanging out. He's just like, look at. Rock-a-bye, baby, on the treetop. When the wind blows the cradle. All right, no live stream next week. I'm gonna take a week off, man. I'm gonna take a week off. I'll post some older videos. I'm Judy and Penelope are they're like, oh man, William's married because he seems such like a happy, nice go lucky guy. Oh my goodness. Um, I'm gonna take a week off from doing any new videos. Who's that guy? Dave Rubin. What's the name? I don't know if he still does it, but I remember he said about a couple years ago. I don't follow him or anything, but I remember he said, William needs you to make more money, and be happy. Yep, 100%. Yeah, I think we will have. I think we should have higher interest rates. Yeah, I don't think they're going to cut into. Yes, what I'm saying. Um, Biden, yeah, but behind those eyes, there's nothing there. Penelope said, "Oh man, Penelope." Penelope says, "We're not looking." Damn, laying the smack down. But anyway, so I'm gonna take a week off, so there won't be any live streams. I'm gonna lounge and read and catch up on stuff I've been meaning to do. And yeah, Ruben is still doing August thing off. Yeah, that's pretty. That makes sense. I just I'm not YouTube doesn't stress me out like the way it does some people. I find I'm not following. I'm not keeping up with the stuff I want to read, and the books are piling up, and that kind of stresses me out. That kind of stresses me out. Nothing. Oh, right now I'm reading How to Lie with Maps. How to Lie with Maps. But I just there's so many things I want to. I got so much stuff, man. That's sitting over there. I want to read Union Terror for sure. I got after How to Lie with Maps. I got another one. I'm drawing a blank what it is. How to Lie. There's another. The moth and the no locals, Tom. Nope, I'm gonna take a week off, man. Just taking a week off. Take a week off, slacker. I got bookkeeping galore to do. Yeah, but Tom, we talked about that on Wednesday. No locals. Yeah, Tom, man, come on, you weren't listening. Read the book of Numbers yet? I have not. But then my next book to read is. Hold on a second. I'll show you. This looks fantastic. Fantastic. Let me just go to my orders. I cannot wait to read this book. So the right now is Lying with Maps, and hold on a second. Right, boink, right there, and we're gonna go to. This looks pretty interesting right here. I'll just show it to you. It's called Merriam's Webster's Vocabulary Builder, and what it does is it talks about the origination of various words, like 250 Greek and Latin roots, aid in the learning of 1,000 words, along with over 2,000 closely related items. That sounds very interesting to me. The Merriam-Webster Vocabulary Builder, so you can learn like the origins and the Latin roots of various words that we have. I'm very much looking forward to reading that. But actually, the one I want to read mostly here, hang tight, ladies and gentlemen, hang tight. Don't get all uppity on me. Just relax, hang tight. Is going to be You Make Me Feel Like Dancing. Got, I buy that? Douglas Adams, The End of the Universe? What the hell is that? Oh, that's my son. Okay, so I know I didn't buy that. Right here. This is what I can't wait to read. I'm very excited by this. All right, so right here. I got a sore throat. I've never taken a week off of YouTube. The Moth and the Iron Lung, a biography of polio. All right, so I look, man. I think the polio thing is big scam. One of the biggest scams there is that Salk and the other guy solved the polio epidemic. We know Salk didn't do it. I forgot the other guy off the top of my head. I just can't remember. And I find that to be absolutely silly. So I think right here, but I always wondered, was it DDT that caused polio? Was it DDT? Because it's not the vaccine. So what was it? What caused the polio? So my assumption was always DDT, because he used to spray DDT all over the place. DDT is good for you and me. But this guy says Forrest Merriday, he was on the Brett Weinstein show. And that's, I give Brett Weinstein a lot of credit, man. Brett Weinstein has introduced me to a guy who talks about a dentistry scan with and I'm not sure this is true. I like hearing other points of view with braces. Mew is that guy's name. I think it's James Mew, MEW. I never heard that before. It's very, very interesting. And that was a guy, and I learned from James Mew when it comes to your breathing. I use some tape over my mouth when I go to sleep at night so I don't snore. And he says a lot. I learned that from Brett Weinstein. I got to listen to Brett more. I got out of the habit of listening to Brett, and I just need to go back because I think he has some great interviews. Oh yeah, I'm reading Not Stolen the Truth. Oh, right on. Oh, dude, 100%. Look at William. Absolutely, it's not stolen. The whole thing is. I'm so sick of this, like colonizers and all that. No. Anyway, so right here. So this right here says a fascinating account of the world's most famous disease, polio, told as you'd never heard before. Epidemics of paralysis began to rage in the early 1900s, seemingly out of nowhere. Doctors, parents, health officials were at a loss to explain why this formerly unheard of disease began paralyzing so many children. Usually starting their legs, sometimes moving through the abdomen and the arms. For an unfortunate few, it could paralyze the muscles that allowed them to breathe. Why did this disease start to become such a horrible thing during the late 1800s? 1800s. Why did it affect children more than adults? Why was it originally called teething paralysis by mothers and their doctors? Why were animals so often paralyzed during the early epidemics when it was later discovered most animals could not become infected? The Moth and the Iron Lung is a fascinating biography of the horrible paralytic disease, where it came from and why it disappeared in the 1950s. If you've never explored the polio story beyond the tales of crippled children and iron lungs, this book will sure to surprise. I'm very much looking forward to it. So his theory or hypothesis, whatever it is, the YouTube, yeah, and I'm like YouTube don't stress me. My man Matt from Quantum of Conscious YouTube channel, he says it best. He goes, like Matt says, look, I get like 30 new. He's got like 100,000 subscribers, but he gets like 30 new subscribers a month now, and he's been doing YouTube for a long, long time. He goes, the problem is the what he calls the not milk, which is Clinton backwards. The people in charge, whoever it is, he doesn't even think it's people necessarily. It's almost like a down, but very interesting guy. I very much like his channel. He goes, they're always going to push people who serve the agenda. You know what I'm saying? Whoever, so they're always going to push the doomsayers. They're always going to push. They're always going to push the people that serve the agenda of what he would call the not milk, and that's like the entity that controls things. Whatever that entity is, I don't know. The Jesuits, I don't know. Nobody knows. The Freemasons, no one knows. I just throwing that out there. Anyway, so the not milk is the control of the entity that controls everything. And as such, his thought process is that they're always going to promote the people who create the most, where people are fighting each other. You see what I'm saying? Like, just the most, they're creating the most ill will out there. And what I'm saying, I completely agree. And that's why, I don't want to create ill will. So I'll never have a huge YouTube channel. And I'm very comfortable with that. I've always said, if YouTube can pay my mortgage, I'm happy. And I am. They are paying my mortgage. I'm happy. I was nice about a year ago. I had like $9,000 one month on YouTube, and I loved it. It's great. I don't get anywhere near that anymore. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool. But they're still paying my mortgage. I'm still content with it. And I don't feel pressure to do videos. Like and the way I kind of do is like, I want it, like, I got to make sure I get this video done, but I don't feel like I got to, think about I don't feel like that at all. But sometimes I'll feel pressure. Like today, it was like 2:00. I hadn't done a video yet because I've been reading. I read on my Saturday morning because I had an early appointment with some folks from Pennsylvania, and I hadn't got a video done. I said, "Oh man, I got to get a video done." And then I was out there doing something. I said, "I got an idea for another one too." And so I did that. And I don't feel like pressure necessarily. Like some of these guys are like, "Oh, people are going to forget." I don't think about that at all. But I know because I preach positivity, that I'll never be all that popular on YouTube. And that's fine. I mean, again, do I want to get more money from YouTube? Yeah, but I'm not going to do it like we're all going to die. It's freaking stupid, man, because it's just no evidence of that. It's just dumb. And everyone else is doing that. I don't want to do that anyway. And it's boring. And I'm not going to sit there and edit my videos. And I'm not going to do all that. It's just not that important to me, because I do YouTube because it's fun. But with that said, I'm missing out on some reading that I want to get done. And again, it was Born Again Bride. She told me about a year ago, you read a lot, but I don't think you read the Bible. And I have read the Bible, don't get me wrong, before, but I hadn't read it, opened it for about a year. I said, you're right, I hadn't. So I started reading the Bible every day. And what I do is I read the Bible, and I've gotten away from reading research papers and stuff, not because of the Bible, just because I've been too busy, frankly, focused on some videos. I like reading research papers. I like reading books. I got a lot of stuff I want to read. I just feel like the YouTube is almost in a way taking precedence over that, and I don't want that. I want to get back to and I'll get lonely for YouTube and you guys, and I'll come back in about a week and start doing it again. So that's why I may fight. Yeah, well, that's 100%. It is, but there's new people all the time, though, my man. So what happens is there's new people that come all the time that need to hear the word. It's no different than being at church. I mean, you can only talk about Corinthians so many times or Ephesians before people say, "Ah, I've heard this before." Yeah, but new people come in. I didn't know if that's what happens with the fire blogs for sure. But there are new people and they need to hear. They need to hear the preaching, and I'm a preacher essentially. And as such, look again. It's not because I need a break. I'm so stressed. I'm literally not stressed. I literally. People say, "Oh my goodness, all these people." I don't care. I literally, people can say whatever they want about me. It doesn't matter. I just stupid. They talk a little bit smack on me and Craig Israelson on Bogleheads. I just laugh. I'm like, okay, yeah, right on. There's Dean, exactly. So I don't know who Dean's new here, and it's cool, man. It's cool having Dean here. I mean, Williams hasn't been here that long. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Chris hasn't been here that long either. So a lot of these guys are new. Some of you guys are old school. They push the divisive. Be careful, pulverizer. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. They push the divisive characters so no one learns how they're being screwed. 100%, man. Harry's there. You go, Harry. There's Harry. Harry in. Harry's there. Right on, man. I had a delivery say the Jesuits, the Freemasons, and you had to leave off another group or else you'll be banned for life. It's all good, man. It is all good. All right, I can get out of here. Now look at Vaughn. Vaughn's like, what did I miss? Vaughn, what is wrong with you, brother, man? Jeez Louise and blue cheese. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I'm getting tired now. So go Edmonton, but you heard it here first. 5-1 Florida game 7. It's gonna suck. I just, for once in my lifetime, I'd love to see a Stanley Cup go 7, which it is now, overtime in game 7. It's never happened in my life. I would so much love to see an overtime game 7. How awesome would that be? Vaughn been here all night, right on. I was like, oh, all right. God bless. We'll see you guys. We won't see you next week. We'll see you the week after. See you. Thanks again for being here. Ooh, McDavid hat trick? No, I don't think so, dude. I think Florida 5-1 Florida. You heard it here first. But not in the Stanley Cup Finals. We haven't seen a Stanley Cup Finals game 7 in overtime. I haven't seen that, man. Oh man, Gord is definitely an OG. You got that print copy of my book. Man, that's crazy, Gordon. You're the man, man. You're the man. Say a prayer for a dark horse. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, whatever dark horse is going through, just guide him however you see fit, obviously. You're in charge. Just please give him the strength and guidance to follow your commands. We pray in Jesus' name, amen. All right, my friends, we're going to get out of here. Later, Gators.